Hi, Dr. Paul Haider, Master Herbalist and Spiritual Teacher here. Well, what do you think this is? This is, get the exposure right here. Oh, we got Himalayan salt. There's some natural salt that's from very close to this island and another little island. Very natural, just dug up on the beach. Table salt. It's all white. And of course, I'm going to taste it because it's salty and I won't be able to talk. But salt is important. Yeah, but it has, it's the good things and bad things. Too much of anything is not good. So it's really important to have enough salt. I remember one time it was really hot here on the island, and I was going from one place to another talking to people, and I had a coat and tie on, and it was really hot. And all of a sudden, I got dizzy, and this lady in an office came out and grabbed me, pulled me in the office, and says, "You sit here for a while." She gave me salt pills and some water. She said, "I think you were going to have you're going to pass out because of the heat, so you need this." I learned my lesson. It's important to have salt. There's no doubt about that. Otherwise, your body stops working. And it's important for hydrating, keeping water in your body, especially for athletes. If you're doing strenuous workouts without salt, it's really not a good thing because eventually everything quits. You end up with muscle cramps and risk of heart attack and headaches and weakness, and you just don't think straight and irritability and all kinds of things. What is salt? Sodium chloride. It's plain and simple. That's what it is. Everything else is the additives of what the ocean brings us as far as the Himalayan salt, Celtic salt, French salt, flake salt. There's a billion different types of salt, and they're all slightly different, but basically they're sodium chloride. And people go to great lengths to get salt. Back in the old days, it was worth its weight in gold, really. And even today, yeah, in the Sahara Desert, people take camels and they go to these dried up uh, salt beds, which used to be oceans, and they cut out huge chunks of salt and they put them on camels, and they do that once a month and take them into the big cities or smaller towns actually, and sell the salt over the month, and that's how they make their living. And that's been done for a thousand, couple thousand, 3,000, 4,000 years now. So it's been going on for a long time because people don't survive without salt. So that's absolutely positively necessary for life. And now we have iodized salt, which is really important also. A lot of people say iodized salt is not good for you. I'm going to say the opposite because I've seen a huge amount of goiter happening now, and a lot of people contacting me about that. A lot of people have a lack of salt in their diet because they're taking in sea salt or plain salt, and a lot of these don't have enough regular iodine in it. And it's a really small amount of iodine, which is in table salt, which is iodized. It's like 0.0006% iodine. But they did that a long time ago, back I think it was in the 50s, because they had a huge amount of people coming down. It was an epidemic of goiter. And it's a big ball under your throat because your thyroid's not getting enough of iodine, so it enlarges. One of our relatives had this, and terrible. And it can block off your windpipe, and you can have all kinds of problems. And so it's really important to get enough iodine. And I recommend you trade off on the different types of salt. That's why we have a lot of different salts in our house. So trade off in your salts and use different ones. There's Himalayan pink salt, which has all kinds of different trace minerals in it. It helps through balance your pH in your body. Celtic salt, basically the same, comes from the uh, Brittany area of France, and it's really gray looking type of thing. It is natural sea salt, which are white, and And there's all kinds of different things. First of all, they hydrate, help to keep your body hydrated because they retain water, which is a big thing. Promotes vascular health, and that's really important because it helps to regulate the water in your body going in and out, and that's really important. Balances the electrolytes in your body. Without that, everything goes crazy. That's important. So that's absolutely important. Helps your nervous system to work correctly because the electrolytes help the signals be passed from one nerve cell to the other. If that doesn't happen, there's no life. So improve sleep because if you don't have the certain signals going on in your brain, you can't go into that sleep mode. So that's important also. So this is absolutely important for quality of life. If you don't have it, it's not going to happen. It also helps to regulate hormones in our body. Also, a lot of people don't know that. I think that's really important to uh, get the quality of sleep that you want and the hormones that you need with just the right amount of salt. Too much salt also causes a lot of problems too, which I'm going to get into later. So also improves digestion. Salt improves digestion. It helps to create the acids in our stomach so we can digest things. Also, we want to be able to move. Our muscles need salt for those impulses to be able to move through our body. That's really important. And for glucose regulation, it's also a part of that process, also that enzymatic process going on there too. Nasal sprays. You can make a great nasal spray with just making salt water. You just take a couple tablespoons of water and about a couple tablespoons of salt, in a cup of water, and just mix that up until it dissolves, and put that into a little sprayer bottle and use that for getting rid of mucus, and then really does a great job. Also, that can help to calm down your lungs and get rid of inflammation, help you breathe easier at the same time. Helps to maintain blood pH. Salt does also. Helps to regulate blood pressure and helps to normalize blood cholesterol. There are so many things that salt does. I mean, it's all interrelated. Gargling with salt water helps for the nasal passages, the mucosal passages of the mouth, and helps with sore throats. It has trace minerals in it, loaded with electrolytes, as I said before, and helps with dehydration and balances fluids. Good for the sinuses. Alkalizes the body in general and is really necessary for the building of strong bones. Say sodium is important for building bones in general, along with calcium, potassium, and all these other trace elements. It's also needed for health in general and for being able to absorb nutrients into our body. So that's really important. And it's also great in Ayurvedic medicine. They say it's great for sore throats and electrolyte balance and for clearing the sinuses and so much more. In moderation, they talk about. And Chinese medicine, they also talk about it for water regulation and also for kidney health and for flushing out toxins and for good digestion. And they're the converse of this whole process. Too much salt is not good for us. It causes cardiovascular disease. And in the British journal called BMJ, it's associated salt with having people coming down with heart attacks and strokes of having too much salt, and people eating a lot of chips and eating all kinds of salty things. The people get hooked on things. Either they're sweets or they're salt. And people eating a lot of processed meats, which have a huge amount of salt in them also, which is not good for the body in general. And so it's really not good. So all these things, all the salt causes the heart to not function correctly. Too much salt. And plus, you don't sleep well when you have too much salt. And I think you can do that test yourself. You can have some salt before going to bed and see how you sleep. You're not going to sleep well. Too much salt also is found in a Journal of Nutrition and Health and Aging to cause cognitive decline in people. So that's a big deal too. So if you want to have good cognitive function as you grow older, limit the salt sugar. If you are prone to edema, the build stocking in the legs and all that fluid going down there, you want to make sure you get rid of the salt shaker as much as possible. You can't get rid of it completely. There's no way you can do that, but limit it as much as possible because that contributes to edema. Is not good for the kidneys, and I recommend on my kidney protocol that you really cut salt out almost completely. Almost, you can't get rid of it completely, but you really try to do a number on limiting it as much as possible because in the journal Blood Pressure in the UK, it was found to create all kinds of problems with the kidneys. They're not good. Also, bloating. If you have PMS and you're bloating and you're gaining weight because of water retention, maybe you live in a hot climate, you're retaining water all the time, then you want to limit your salt because that's not good. That's really not good at all. And like I said, it's not good for your sleep. So there's a lot of ways that salt is really great for you, but at the same time is, not good for you too. It's one of the things that has to be in a balance. And there's a lot of different salts, but basically they're sodium chloride. And then you get your trace elements that come in with different types of salts also. So try a different plethora of different salts and try to include some iodized salt so you can stay away from the goiter also. I think that's important. I believe in moderation in all things. That's important in life. And there's only one thing you can't OD on, and that is love. Love is one of those things that we need more and more and more. And I see in this world that we need more love than ever right now. And if you can take a little bit of love and spread it around, that is really important. And if you're living with a spouse and whether he or she has done something, it kind of got you all riled up, remember that the one most important thing that you can do is to forgive, forget, and move on. Forgive, forget, and move on. Those three simple things included is part of love. There's no doubt about it. If you're going to love somebody, you have to be able to forgive them. You have to be able to forget about it and move on with life so that you can have a life together. If you brood and hold on to stuff for the rest of your life, there's not going to be a relationship. So you have to be able to allow yourself to forgive, forget, and move on. And that's a constant daily practice. There's no doubt about it. And love thy neighbor as thyself. So you have to, first of all, love the one you see in the mirror. And when you love the one you see in the mirror, then you can finally start being able to love other people. It's really not possible to love anybody else until you love yourself. And like in the airplane, when they lose cabin pressure, the masks drop down, you're supposed to put on yours first, and so you can help your kid later, because if you pass out, you can't help your kid. And so you're supposed to love yourself and change the world by allowing that love to flow out of you. And I knew a lady who passed on not too long ago, and she was full of love. And she could be ornery, I tell you, at times, but I remember so well that she would have people come over and they would be sick and she would nurse them to health, and maybe it would take a month, but she would allow them to stay in their house, and she would take care of them, and no questions asked, no matter what. And that was really profound. Sometimes people were down on their luck and didn't have money, and maybe it was just a hard time for them right then, and she would have them come in, she would take care of them and nurture them and allow them to get strength inside themselves again in their heart so they could go out and take on the world again. Sometimes they just needed a respite. They just didn't know what to do with their lives, and she would take them in and allow them to gather their wisdom again so that they can go out and find what they really needed to do. Sometimes purpose is elusive until we gather ourselves and find that deep down inside in our heart. And sometimes, we tend to need a little bit of generosity from other people, or love from other people who allow us to have that time so we can find what we need to do. And sometimes it takes a lot of soul searching, and sometimes we need that quietude and that time to look introspectively into our heart and find out, is this what I'm doing right now? Is this fulfilling me deep down inside? And sometimes we go say yes, sometimes we'll say no. Many, many years ago, I was in a technical area of life. I did research, medical research for a long, long time, actually 20 years, almost 20 years. And then I woke up one day and said, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so there was an awakening that happened, and I had that happen because I took a little time off. And I decided to explore what was necessary in my life. And from there, I decided, I bloomed. I became a whole different person. And I decided that I need to move on. And so I did. I remember one person in particular coming to me as I left the university, and he said, "You're going to give all this up? And you only got about 35 more years until you retire." And I said, And I'm glad I did. And I'm so much more fulfilled. When you're sitting in an office doing particular stuff, it's just not fulfilling. And when you're helping people and making a difference in their lives, it changes you from the inside out, because whenever somebody else is healed, you heal yourself also. So remember, we're about salt. There's the good parts and the bad parts. Too much is not good. Too little is not good. You gotta have that average. But when it comes to love, you can never have enough. So have a wonderful day. And if you want to get a hold of me, my phone number is 831-869-9119. 831-869-9119. My email is drpaulhaider@gmail.com. You can see it down below. Click more. drpaulhaider@gmail.com. You can text me. You can WhatsApp me. You can get a hold of me by Skype under Dr. Paul Haider. Send me an invite. And my consultations are no charge. And if you care to make a donation, that is greatly, greatly appreciated, because, we incur a lot of expenses in doing research, and we help a lot of people in whatever way we can, and we need your help. If you care to make that donation, it is greatly appreciated. And down below on the link, you can see that link to make a donation, or you can go to my website at paulhaider.com, www.paulhaider.com, paulhaider.com. And up in the right-hand corner, you can see donate up there. Also, right beside my donate area there, you'll see my diet, and click on that and read through it. It'll change your life. I think if people would follow my diet, we could really cut back on the amount of diseases we have going on in the world and make a difference in people's lives in general. I've seen amazing things happen, from people heal from MS to lupus to rheumatoid arthritis to all kinds of things. It's just amazing. So I hope you will join me on my diet. But remember one thing above all, also please subscribe, but one thing above all, please, please, please remember, I love you.